Being able to be home and to be a true part of our triangle rather than just FaceTime or talking on the phone, it is the best, man.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Life of Dad Show. Here in the Life of Dad Show, we talk with athletes, actors, entrepreneurs, CEOs, musicians, entertainers who've all made a name for themselves, but the one thing that is most important to them is being a dad. This week, my guest is actor Michael Irby. You might see Michael Irby act in the shows Barry, SEAL Team, Mayans MC. Great guy. We talk about how he got into acting, how he juggles the different roles that he plays in these current series right now, as well as what got him into acting. It was a really fun interview. Guys got a lot of passion for both fatherhood and acting. I think you guys are really going to dig this interview. This week's episode of the Life of Dad Show is being brought to you by Epic. Epic's award-winning digital library provides kids 12 and under the unlimited access to over 35,000 of the best books, learning videos, and more, including popular books and graphic novels such as Big Nate, My Father's Dragon, Where the Wild Things Are, Curious George, The Velveteen Rabbit, Princess in Black, and so many more. I highly encourage you guys to check out Epic. My daughters love to read. My wife and I always read to our kids when they were babies and toddlers, and now you can find them sitting in their rooms reading books, graphic novels, all these great things. So it starts with you guys. Make sure you check out Epic. I think your kids are really going to love it. Not only does Epic have a lot of great books, but you can also track your child's progress with a digital reading log and create personalized reading collections for your children. It's a win-win right there. And now is a perfect time to set up your subscription with Epic. It's normally $7.99 a month, which is a great deal, but we have partnered up with them to give you 2 months free. Just use the promo code LifeOfDad when you sign up for an Epic subscription at getepic.com. And again, that's getepic.com. Use the promo code LifeOfDad for 2 months free. Now let's get into the interview with Michael Irby. Enjoy. Hey everybody, Eddy here for the Life of Dad Show and online. I'm very happy to have Michael Irby. Thanks for taking the time to chat with me, Michael. How you doing, sir?
Absolutely, man. It's my pleasure. Life is grand right now. Just got off the motorcycles, getting ramped up here for season 2, and yeah, all is good.
Yeah, man, we're going to talk about all the different shows that you're juggling right now, which is a good thing for an actor. You want to be busy, which is great. And of course, we're going to talk about fatherhood, but let's first talk about Barry, man. A lot of people are loving the show. A lot of people are talking about it online, you know, especially nowadays. I feel like, I'm just guessing, as an actor, it's kind of cool to see, maybe sometimes good and bad depending on people's reviews. But for the most part, with Barry and the other shows you've been on, people have been digging them. So it's kind of cool to get that instant reaction from people, right? And you play Cristobal. Talk a little about the character on Barry and how much you enjoy playing him.
Back when I was in acting school many, many moons ago, people thought I was very funny. And then when I started to work and get into the business, I kind of got pigeonholed as being a badass. I kind of had to put my comic hat away for a while. And when I got the call to come in for Barry, they said that he was like a Bolivian Sammy Hagar. And I didn't, and just that, those were the breakdowns, Bolivian Sammy Hagar. So I said, wow, I don't know what this means. I don't know what take you're trying to take on this. So, I thank God for Google, and I just jumped online. I started looking at Bolivians. I started looking at their religion. I started looking at them as a people. And then I just pulled up some YouTube videos of Sammy Hagar, and I saw his zest for life, his positivity, his you can throw me anything and I'll be able to handle it. And, through some of the different character notes, Cristobal's very heavy into the 4 agreements. I don't know if he's a self-helper. I believe he kind of wants you to kind of get to your highest self. And these were all things I thought I just thought it was a brilliant mind there that Bill and Alec had created with this character that, he is a stone cold killer. He is a drug lord, but he might possibly be the nicest guy on television right now.
All things considered, he's pretty down to earth and a nice guy once you get to know him, right?
Once you get to know him, he is a really, really down to earth fella, and he only wants the best for you.
Besides Barry, you're also on a great other shows like SEAL Team and Maya's MC. How do you kind of work all those shows on the same time? And I'm guessing they film on different weeks, or you just got this schedule down pat and like where you go on different for different shows, right?
Well, luckily and fortunately, they were all filming here in Los Angeles. It's a very, very rare thing to be able to even have more than one job, you know. I've had many a jobs that I lost because there was just one day crossover, or, you know, one guy needed me up until the 10th and I wasn't going to be released until the 11th. And, you know, so there's so many stars have to line up. And fortunately on this job, the first season of Mayans, one of our first ADs went to go do the second season of SEAL Team. And there was about 3 weeks there where I was literally doing both jobs at the same time.
Wow.
And, you know, talk about being a father and, you know, not being around the house. But, you know, there was a period of time there where I was getting up at 5 in the morning. I would drive out here to Santa Clarita. I would work here until about 4 or 5 in the afternoon. I'd get in the car. I would drive straight to Pomona for night shoots on SEAL Team. And I would show up down there in makeup. And then when I got down there, they had to put a fake beard on me. And then from there, there's about 4 days where I probably got about, 8 hours sleep total. But I got to say, my father used to say, son, you know, if they want you, buddy, you'll sleep when you're dead. And,
Yep.
you know, that's just kind of an old school working man's mentality. You know, if they want you, then you'll sleep when you're dead. You know, drink a lot of water, make sure you're eating some fruit and veggies, and just keep pushing on through. And it was, I got to say, man, I had never done it before. It was such a beautiful experience. And then as an actor to take off that hat, and then you go into SEAL Team and you start putting on those clothes. And, you know, and then right as we were wrapping up mine season 1, Barry season 2 called. And, you know, I put down my gun, I put down my motorcycle, I put down my knife, and then I jumped over there and I'm doing TED Talks on Barry, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm working with NoHo and all those boys over there. And it's just, it's been a really amazing year. I don't see it going anywhere. I just see more of the same. You know, that's what I'm trying to create, more of the same.
Man, that's fantastic. I love the mentality, and it's great. And, you know, talking about many moons ago when you got into acting class and, school and acting school and all that, and you were kind of like, people thought you were funny, and then all the different things that got into where your career is now. But take me back, was there like a movie or a person or an experience where you're like, you know what, this acting thing, I got the bug and I want to pursue it? Like, was there something that you can kind of recall in regards to the time you were like, yep, this is where I want to go with my career?
Well, you know, brother, I'll be honest with you. I was 20 years old. I was a little, you know, I was never going to be college material. You know, it just wasn't the time. They weren't offering all the student loans yet. You know, it was just a bit of a different time. And as much as I was a soccer player, and I went and played in Europe for a little bit, right after I got out of high school. And when I got back, I got in a little car accident. Could I have recovered from that accident? I'm sure I could have. But, you know, the athlete, once you have an injury, it's kind of hard to play free and at 100%. And I just started to kind of spin out a little bit. And I guess spiritually, I played for so long. I played for my whole life. And when I kind of gave that up, I wasn't really sure where I was going to land. And I wasn't sure where I was going to land with everything. And I ended up moving up to Newport Beach. And I was an absolute fish out of water there. You know, I was going to school for like sports physical therapy. I'm digging into human cadavers and, you know, taking pig hearts apart and the whole. And something hit me. It said, "This is not you.
Yeah.
This is not you. This is never going to be you. And if you don't jump out now, you know, you're going to be one of those stories." And so I dropped out. And I dropped all my classes, and after that, I took like 2 months off for the rest of that semester to end. And when I went back to my junior college there, I said, you know, I'm going to take a bunch of art classes. So I took an acting class, I took an opera class, I took a drafting class, and I was just like, and I guess I was always a little bit of a ham, you know, from what my mother says, and you know, I'm the middle born, and you know, there's always that middle-born syndrome, and, you know, I wasn't really a look-at-me kind of guy, but I wasn't afraid of the light, you know.
Yeah.
I had scored a lot of goals on the soccer field, and I appreciated that type of stressful energy, and I always responded to it really well. Like, you know, even back in high school when the drafters, you know, when the military came around, they were like, dude, you to be in the military. And I was like, yeah, but I'm just not, I don't know if I'm wired up for that. And then I get into a whole career of playing military guys, which I find fascinating because they must have seen something. But in my acting class, the teacher, I did one scene in the class, and he said, can I please speak to you after class? And I said, oh, no, I must have done something. And he says, brother, he says, you're an actor. And I looked at him. I was like 19 years old, a little crazy out of my mind. He says, I said, what do you mean? He says, you're an actor. I'm telling you that right now. I think you can make money doing it. And I said, okay, so what, how? He says, you can go to Los Angeles right now, and, you can go get an acting teacher, or you can go to New York if you really want to know, how to do the craft. And, I grew up, I heard Frank Sinatra, if you can do it there, you can do it anywhere. and I got to say, New York was very enticing. And I moved, I shut it all down, I quit my job, broke it with my girlfriend, saved a few bucks, and I moved to New York in about 5 months. And I got accepted to acting school out there. And everyone just kept saying, you're an actor. And as much as I didn't know what that meant, it started to feel comfortable, and it started to feel true. And then I accepted it, and I said, well, this is what I am. And I got out of school, and I started working,
Yeah. Love that, man. Thanks very much for sharing that. One last question before we get into fatherhood. Talk a little bit about, how you prepare for a role. I know each role is going to be different. There's going to be different nuances for each character, but I always love the creative process of people in any line of work that needs creativity and needs a different outlet each time, I guess. So for you, do you kind of have a routine when you prep up for a role, or does it depend on each character? And of course, the length you need to prepare for each character?
The same amount of prep goes into every character. When I first read a script, I read it pretty blind. I try not to make any choices. I try not to really, I really try to read it blind, at my school, we were very much into Meisner, and we were very much into Uta Hagen. We've also, we dabbled in Stanislavski and method and stuff like that. But my first thing is to really go through and see what everyone is saying about me, right? So it's not what I'm saying, but more so what everyone else is saying about me. And those are your clues to your character. Those are clues to who you are. They're clues to how people respect you or hate you or treat you or love you. And I always like to go at it from that aspect. As far as the heart goes, there is a through line through all of my characters, I guess. If I was to look at my 20-year career and put all these little snippets together, you're going to see a guy who's fighting all the time, whether it's for the truth or for himself or something of a higher cause or for the flag. You always see Michael Irby in elements of struggle and overcoming, and I kind of look for the struggle in every character. I look for what his obstacle is, what is in the way of him getting what he wants. How is he going to get what he wants? That's kind of how I approach most things, I got to be honest with you. And coming again from a sports background, it's not so much what you're doing sometimes, it's what you're getting from the other team. And it kind of dictates your game. And sometimes you're getting nothing, and sometimes you're getting more than you can handle. But at the end of the day, you got to play your game. Yeah, the character, I like to go from the outside in rather from the inside out.
Nice.
I like to, so that's kind of how I like to process the work a little bit.
Thank you very much for sharing that. Appreciate that. Now we got, of course, fatherhood here at Life of Dad. We like to get everybody's take on being a dad. So for you, let's talk about the first time you found out you're going to be a dad. What was going on through your mind, sir?
I said, oh, God, no. How? My wife and I, my girlfriend at the time, we had already been together for about 5 years. And, we'd shared an apartment in Harlem. And I got a movie that was taking me out to Nashville for 4 months. During that movie, she decided she wanted to come to L.A. And she came out to L.A. She dug it. And she says, I'm moving to L.A. I said, are we breaking up? She said, well, no, but I'm moving to L.A. and you can pretty much do what you want. So I said, well, let me get a bag and I'll come with you. And we got out here, brother, and we were pregnant in about 5 months. And we had what we thought this whole thing in front of us, and we ended up getting pregnant. It was probably about $20 between the two of us. I told a dear friend of mine back in New York, old dear Jewish man, a lawyer I used to work for, and he said, Michael, do not worry. He said, the babies bring their own bread. Wow. I said, okay. And it's just faith, right? I knew at that moment, and because it wasn't pretty, it wasn't like, oh, wow, we've been trying to do this, and it was a huge surprise. And life being the big, beautiful, magical improv that it is, you get more out of saying yes, right?
Yeah.
And so we said yes. We want to bring Addison into the world, and we want to do it together. And life, brother, life changed on a dime. I knew why I was here. It became very clear what I wanted. I wanted to provide for my wife and give them a house and give them certain things that I was very selfish before then. Before then, I was Michael Irby, trying to be an actor.
Yeah.
After Addison was in the belly, I was Michael Irby, a soon-to-be father. And I need to go and earn. And I turned into a lion, man. It was like I was testing while he was in the belly for a series, an FBI series I did with Rob Lurie that ran for a season. And, I'm there, and there's contracts on the table, and there's a big room full of people, and, I was like, you guys, whatever you're going to offer me, it's not as much as what I'm being offered from the gods right now. So if you don't mind, if we can just jam through this real quick, I'm pretty sure you already know if you want me or not. But let me just go ahead and go through the motions. And, people were like, who is that guy? Because he, and they were like, how is he not here groveling on his hands and knees? Please give me a job. And, and I just didn't do that, and fortunately enough, like Addison gave me that power. My son gave me that power to go in and say, my time is just as important as yours. But I got to go because my wife is in labor and she could have the baby at any moment. So it really made everything that I was going through, not that it was less important, it was actually more important, but it didn't, there were no distractions. I wasn't nervous or scared or feeling insecure about anything. I was getting ready to bring a child into the world, and, that kind of trumped everything. And it made everything easier, man. Addison, I joke about it, but from my lawyer friend saying he brings a loaf of bread, I said he brought 2 loaves of bread. Yeah. He literally showed up and was like, you guys, I got you. Thanks for bringing me in. And, I was just working. And he's 16 years old now. And he's getting ready to drive. And he still lets me give him a hug and rough him up. But at the end of the day, if I give him my back, he'll try to choke me out, because we watch a lot of MMA together, and that was always a little thing, he was like my little bear cub, so we were always wrestling. I was always showing him techniques, and, you do that, and now we're in a new age, there's nobody fighting anymore. Everybody just blows each other up on social media, that's how people get it now, right? So I was trying to teach him how to take somebody on, I never had to teach him that, but now he's brought all that energy back towards me.
That's awesome, man. Love that, man.
Yeah.
So obviously, you were kind of earlier when we were talking about the different roles you're doing for the different shows. You're juggling that, but also, it sounds like you're trying to juggle family and that work balance. Some people don't care for that term, and I get it. I'm always curious, like, how do you balance that work and family dynamic?
Well, fortunately, again, we're here in L.A. The last 2 years, I was doing a series out in Canada, and that was very hard. Being on location is very hard for me. My wife will tell you. It's not like I'm not looking for anything. I'm not looking for anything out there. I don't need anything out there. I just want to go to work, and then I get a little down, I created a family because I wanted one, right? So you always got to make sure that when you're home, you're really home, and you're not, trying to chase down the next gig, which can very much be a truth. You're home, but you're still right back out there trying to go get another job. It's not all gravy, baby. It's not all what you see on TV. There's peaks and valleys in this business. He's seen me struggle. He's seen me survive and thrive, and he's seen the whole gamut. I mean, if he did want to be an actor, I'd be totally surprised because he's seen it all.
Yeah.
But it's all about being there when you're there.
Yep.
I can't say it's perfect all the time. I would never, try to float my boat like that, because sometimes I'm not there and I'm thinking about something else and thinking about how to, just get her done. We fish. I love the fish. It was something we started early, and it's something that we kind of really enjoy doing. Fishing with him is just one of the highlights of my life, and I was able to be his soccer coach, so I was able to kind of do that pattern.
Nice.
Until he decided he didn't want to play anymore. I may have had something to do with that. Man, I'm not perfect, man. I just knew. Somebody said, so what do you, like right when we had him, I said, you guys, I really just want to make sure that I can keep him alive, and that he sleeps, and that he has regular bowel movements. I don't really know what else to do other than that, but let him sit on my chest. And those are the times I could start crying right now like a little baby. But those were literally, and we're still having them. But they were some of the best years of my life. Some of the business and some of the decisions dictated. We had one. We thought we'd give all that energy into the one. Rather than kind of struggling and having 3 or 4 or 5 kids, which I wanted. Believe it, I wanted the basketball team, but my wife was like, I think one is good. And honestly, one was perfect, because our lifestyle and our business, so much of that would have went down to her, and have to, she would have had to kind of reevaluate her dreams and what she wanted to do. And, we were always doing it as a partnership. We were always doing it together. So, we made that decision together, and Addison has a great life, and he can have what he wants, and we're both available to him, spiritually. And we're, like I said, being here in Los Angeles, I'm able to go home. I'm able to get home every night. I'm the cook. I go home, we make dinner, we sit at the table, 5 minutes, 10 minutes in the morning. It's all, to get off to school. I love you guys. I'll see you later. But, I get to see everybody every night.
Yeah.
And that's a real special gift for an actor that, everybody wants to be film stars, but film stars don't stay at home.
Yep.
Film stars don't stay at home. I'm okay in the TV world. If I get to bounce out into a movie every couple of years, that's awesome. But, being able to be home and to be a true part of our triangle rather than just FaceTime or talking on the phone, it is the best, man. I can't even, I'm truly living the dream.
Nice, man. I think you guys need to, maybe your son will probably think it's corny, but I love the phrase, be part of the triangle, because there's 3 of you. That's fantastic, man. That needs to be on a shirt somewhere.
Yeah, because, that old egg test, when you got to drop the egg off the, 20 stories. The triangle works just as good as a square, as good as a hexagon. The triangle, I mean, they got the pyramids, that stuff is strong. And that was kind of, it was something that my wife and I talked about. And we realized that we had a triangle, and that we kind of put him up top. I wasn't up top. She wasn't up top. He was up top.
Yeah.
And we were down here. We were down here taking care of him. And, it's, man, it's, I like my little family. I love my little family. It's really what I live for.
Thanks for sharing that, Michael. We got 2 more questions before I hit you up the Life of Dad quick 5. For you and your wife, What are some of the core values you look to instill into Addison as he's growing up? I mean, I know you say he's kind of his teenage years, but you know as well as I do, you never stop being a parent. But what are some of the values you're looking to instill into him?
The self. My wife, she got a little bullied back in the day, and me, I was a little bit of a fish out of water where I was growing up, and we took a lot of time to figure out who we are. Not to just be what everybody wants you to be, but be who you think you are. And that can sometimes be met with adversity. It can be sometimes met with negativity. But if you know who you are, you're already so much further than a lot of people in that process who are out there trying to find it. Our teachers always told us he was so empathetic to people. He would see people crying and he would just stop and watch. And he's the same way. He's got a very lovely heart. We're sending him to a Catholic school that they do it through the eyes of Mary. So not through Joseph per se, but through the Marianist tradition. And it's all about giving back and knowing that we're here in a village together and that we all need and can play our part as long as we know who we are.
Yeah.
So, my wife found that school, and I went down for the orientation, and we left, and we said, oh, that's where he's got to go. They're doing exactly what we've been doing the last 12 years. So that's it, man. Love yourself apart and above everything, because if you're on that journey of not loving yourself, it's going to be such a hard road, and you will and can get out of that, but you cut out so much of the hiccups if you're able to love yourself. So that is something that we're always talking about, whether at the dinner table or on the fire or, out on the boat. Just, be easy on yourself and go get your life, because it's right there. It's right there.
Nice. Really appreciate that. Last question before Life or Dad Quick 5. For new parents, dads to be that are, listening to this, what is one big piece of advice? I mean, there's probably a lot of things, but just is there one big piece of advice you'd like to offer to them?
Oh, wow. Just let them talk. Right? Just really let them talk. Talk less, right? Don't talk at them. We never baby talked with our son. We always spoke in full, complete sentences. We thought he was going to be a quick talker because we were always talking to him. No baby goo goo gaga. The kid did not talk for 2 years. We took him to the doctor. The doctor said there's nothing wrong with the kid. When he starts talking, I'm pretty sure it's going to be in full sentences. Literally, brother, the day after his second birthday, he came to me. He walked into the room. He says, "Papa, are those all my presents?" I said, "Oh!" I said, "Susan, come here." and he talked in a full sentence. The kid had never talked. He said mama very early. He said papa, but he never really spoke. And right after the 2-year mark, he came out of his bedroom. He got out of the crib, whatnot. But he comes out and he says, "Papa, are those all my presents?" And it was on, right? Yeah, it was on, man. Do what they want. Don't do what you want. If you're always trying to force them into this thing, you're only going to get rebellion. You're only going to get kickback. I think really we're just there to kind of guide. We're just there to guide the process. We're not there. He doesn't have to be me. We're just there to guide.
Fantastic answer right there, and I love that story too. I mean, gets out of the crib, starts talking like, "Hey, those my presents."
Hey,
I love it.
Hey, Papa, can I get a little OJ?
And I think, I know we're joking about it and laughing about it, but I never really did the baby talk with my kids as well. I just we did a lot of music, we did a lot of reading to them, and I would talk to them, and that maybe my wife would do a little baby talking here and there. But again, I'm not saying you can or you shouldn't. I mean, do whatever you want for your child as long as it's positive and healthy is my mentality. But I love the fact that I think so many times, especially you kind of mentioned the social media world, we live in that following that the Joneses on Instagram, oh, look where they're at, this great family photo. And I always say 2 minutes later, they're at each other's throats because they're all ticked off at each other because they had to pose for this photo for 5 minutes, right? So I just love that answer, and I think it just kind of goes to show what the mentality we like to express here at Life or Dad is just do your own thing as long as it's good and positive for your family and your kids. So I really appreciate that. Now we got the Life or Dad Quick 5. Favorite family movie in the household is?
Favorite family movie in the household? Well, I'm going to go with Nemo.
Nice. Very cool.
Finding Nemo. We probably watched that about 600 times.
Nice. Was there a band or was there a musician that you couldn't wait to introduce your son into, or is there a favorite song you guys have together?
I'll tell you what it was. It was such a crazy cool time, and it was the first time I'd heard this artist, but it was Jack Johnson and the Curious George soundtrack.
Oh, yes.
That is just epic, and we were literally driving the other day, and that Sharing song came on, and Recycle, and just love. And that's the short answer. Jack Johnson, Curious George soundtrack, and it's just brilliant.
Oh, man, know exactly what you're talking about. Great song right there. Describe the perfect family vacation. Where would it be?
Perfect family vacation. Oh, we like Europe, man. We like to get out of the States sometimes and just go and be, travelers, family vacation. Send us down to Mexico, send us to Costa Rica, let us sit on the beach and catch lizards and feed the animals.
Nice, man. I like that. You're probably always thinking about this, but is there a role you'd love to take on next?
I can't really say. I'm kind of in it right now. I'm in the role. Right now, playing the president on the Mayans. I always used to joke, oh man, are they ever going to let me play a dad? Are they ever going to let me bounce a kid off the knee? And you know what? They don't want that from me.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that. I can do that. I don't have to do that part. I get 16, 17, 18 years of that at home. Mm-hmm. And I love playing that part at home. It's the best job. It's the best role I've ever had in my life as being a father. Like I said, right now I'm kind of living it.
Nice.
That's the short answer. Is I'm living it right now. I'm a father. I'm a working actor. And I'm in it to win it right now.
Nice. And lastly, is there an actor or director? I mean, I bet there's a ton, but is there one right off the tip of your mind right now that you'd like to work with right now for your next project?
Wow, man, I'd always love to play with Denzel if they let me jump over there.
Yeah.
I just think he's got a very interesting brain. I love the way that he processes the work, and I think he goes deep. He goes to all the right places for me. That's my anger side. That's my anger side. That's something that, my wife and the old acting teacher always tell you. For some reason, it's something that is there. If I stare at it too hard, it turns into a monster, but I'm fortunate enough to be able to kind of exercise those demons on camera.
Yeah.
And be paid for it, and it's all safe. And, I get to kind of do that. I get to do that on screen, which is a rarity, especially in our day and age. Everybody's walking around with some rage that they want to let go.
Nice. People, make sure you follow Michael on Twitter at Michael Irby, and also check out all the great shows that he's in, especially from Mayans to Barry to SEAL Team as well. But man, it's been such an honor chatting with you. Love your take on fatherhood. And again, I know you're a very busy guy. Thanks for taking some time out of your schedule to chat with me about fatherhood, man.
Hey, it was my pleasure. It's great to talk about something other than myself.
You take care, man.
All right, brother. Peace.
All right, bye.
Thanks so much for listening to the Life of Dad Show. You know where to find us, lifeofdad.com, and on Twitter and Facebook.
Noise you couldn't quite locate or explain. Couldn't quite locate